Hey, it's Jermaine here, your customer growth guide, and we're going to be speaking about moments of truth and how you can create long-lasting change with your customers. Well, welcome to the channel, and if you're new here, welcome. If you're old, welcome back. We're going to be speaking about how you can create long-lasting change with your customers by creating what I call moments of truth, and that was captured from a book by a guy named Jan Carlson called Moments of Truth. Now, he was the former CEO of Scandinavian Airlines. At one point throughout the 80s and early 90s, they were the most successful airline for business travelers in Europe, particularly in Scandinavia. And he had a particular philosophy, a way of thinking about business that enabled him and his organization and the employees there to think about how they create really special moments for every single passenger and customer that interacted with them. And that particular principle around moments of truth was around this whole idea that in the very mundane, in the ordinary moments that you have of interactions with customers, you can actually make those extraordinary by just acting on very, very specific disciplines. And we're going to talk about 3 things you can do right now to activate that for yourself, and even activate that internally if you need to do that as well to increase collaboration and cohesion within your own business. But let's talk about customers, starting with number 1 way to create moments of truth, and that's to listen. Now, listening is very much an art and a skill, and most of us don't do it really well because one of the things is our thoughts and our own agendas get in the way. And oftentimes when we're speaking really to fill in the gaps or to really just share our own ideas and thoughts, and we're not really hearing the other person. So just imagine for a moment that you're on the other end of this. How would you want to be treated in that particular moment? It goes back to the old adage, do as unto others as you would want them to do unto you. And listening is part of that same kind of metaphor, that same analogy, that same principle of making sure that you show up with no distractions, focusing on the other person. If you can do that, you can create moments where they feel seen, heard, and understood. Number 2, reduce friction. If there are things in the interaction with the customer that you can reduce the friction to, they will love you for it, particularly in the areas of documentation filling. I've often found this a huge chore when working with partners or suppliers. We have to produce streams of documentation with information they already have of you that they could fill in advance. So if you can be that person who's thinking in advance for the customer, thinking about, hey, where are the friction points here, and where can we reduce this for the customer so it's easier for them, so they have a greater experience, you'll be able to create a moment for them where they feel much more heard, much more seen, much more understood, because you're putting them first. Number 3, and perhaps one of the most important here, is understanding the journey of the customer. What are their actual goals, fears, needs, desires, and outcomes? What are they actually looking for from you in a relationship? Are their expectations being met? What are the fears or perhaps risks that might be in the way of moving the relationship forward and deepening trust with that individual? If you can understand those things in advance, you can make sure you can design an experience for them when they communicate with you that is much more palatable for them. That's much more engaging, and brings them into a community rather than just has them as an outside customer. So if you can think about listening, if you think about reducing friction, if you think about their journey, all those particular aspects, you'll know you'll be able to create moments of truth for your customers every single day. And in fact, just to make sure that you get this, I've got a PDF for you that you can download in the link below, to make sure you can create moments at any point in time. Now, I hope you've had value from this. Like and subscribe if you haven't done already, and I'll see you in the next video.